My entitled girlfriend demands that I give up the internet at our home and even force me to sell off my computer, my PS5, and my TV, claiming that she doesn't want any gaming or online activity at all in our house. So after agreeing to this and dedicating my life to spending time with her and her hobbies, she has slowly faded out of my life and has left me bored at home doing absolutely nothing. And now that I'm trying to bring the internet back into our house and try and participate in my own hobbies again, she freaked out on me and told me that this is a deal breaker, while also shouting that she wants me out of the house. So now I'm at a complete loss and I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, so we have lived together for over a year and we have our good and bad times, but lately it has been very rough. She's gone from the house all the time. She rarely shares where she is or where she's going, and she spends time with me less and less. I've talked to her about this and how I feel a need for more time together, but it's all to no avail. When we moved into this house to live together, she told me she didn't want to have Wi-Fi, internet, a TV, or a computer. All the things that I enjoy and used to love were hobbies like playing on my PlayStation 5, playing on my PC, watching sports, etc. But it was very important to her. I agreed and was more than willing to sell my things, earn some extra money, and focus on her and her hobbies. She much prefers board games and time in nature, and I honestly love those things too. At first, she gave me a lot of her time, and our time together was great. Lots of time with board games, outside, playing sports together, being active. I mean, so much time outside of work was just us. But over time, she has found new hobbies, as well as new things to do outside of us spending time together, and that has left me alone quite a lot lately. Sometimes for 5 to 10 hours a day, and some days less, but some days even more. So here's the problem. I'm bored. I have nothing to do but other things that I'm just not really interested in. I don't want to go out, but I don't want to be stuck here at my house by myself with nothing to do except do chores, be on my phone, or sleep. I told her I wanted to get back into gaming. I wanted to get a television, a PS5, and the internet. And when I told her that, she blew up at me. She was so angry. She yelled at me and refused to talk to me about it. She left the house for the rest of the day and was gone 7 to 8 hours. But during that time, instead of being bored again, while she was gone, I went ahead and did the things I said I was gonna do. Well, today is the following day, and I just told her what I purchased, and I did it to be clear about it and not hide it. Well, when I told her that, she got so angry. She said that I knew having internet was a deal breaker, and I did it anyways. She also said some hurtful things and then asked me to leave. Now, I'm sure I could have communicated this better, but I just want to know if I can save this somehow and still have something to do like gaming or watching some TV, even only while she's gone. I told her that while she's at home or when she wants to go out together, that I would always give her and the home 100% priority. And I truly mean that, but it honestly just didn't matter. So now I'm at a complete loss and I seriously don't know what to do. Okay, your girlfriend, in my opinion, is being completely unreasonable. Like, there is no situation here where this behavior and this level of control is in any way acceptable. First of all, why on earth did you agree to this? The original poster sold all of their electronics all to be with some girl and spend time with her. Like, for me, if someone came to me and said, you need to give up all your electronics and only spend time with me, I would look him in the eye and be like, no, that's not happening, sorry. Like, I can't actually imagine anybody embracing that reality and being like, you got it, babe, no internet ever again. And this goes beyond like video games or anything like that. Like, the internet, in my opinion, is no longer just like a luxury to have in the home. It is literally a utility that people use all the time. So to deny yourself of having that in your home, if you have the availability and you can afford it, that in my opinion is like saying, okay, I just don't want any running water. And sure, water's different than the internet, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. And it's really suspicious to me that your girlfriend's like, focus on my hobbies instead of yours. And it's almost like there's no compromise at all. It's either her way or the highway. And that just does not seem fair in the slightest, like at all. This is seriously an insane situation. And in my opinion, it is absolutely crazy to me that you even agreed to this in the first place. Like, the only reason you sacrificed those things was so that you could spend time with her, but now she doesn't even spend time with you. You literally got rid of all of that for no reason. And the fact that she would react in the way that she did and freak out and be like, this is a deal breaker, you need to get out. Like, seriously, what is happening right now? So she can have all of her hobbies, but you can't have yours on your free time? It's not like you're neglecting her or the house or anything like that. You've made it very clear that when she is at home, you're gonna focus on her. So honestly, from my perspective, this whole situation situation is insane to me, and I just can't imagine being with a girlfriend who's gonna ask so much of me, but also be so unwilling to compromise even in the slightest. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Am I the jerk for not inviting someone to my New Year's party after their son destroyed some of my amiibos in my collection at my previous party? Here's what happened. So I'm a 31-year-old male, and I usually host New Year's parties at my house. I have a considerable amount of amiibo figures that I have collected over the years. They're enclosed in a glass showcase that has a key. I keep it locked because 2 of my female friends have kids and I like having them over, so it's fine. Now, here's the thing. I have 3 mom friends in my group, and one of the moms, by the name of Lucy, that's not her real name, has a 6-year-old son. And at last New Year's party, I forgot the key in the showcase, and he ended up playing with my amiibos. Now, he was just playing with them, which would have been fine, but he actually ripped them off the bases, which ended up damaging a few of them. I ended up complaining and asked for her to pay me back for the damaged ones, but she just ridiculed it and brushed it off. So this year, out of a small amount of spite, I decided not to invite her, and no one at the party even seemed to notice. Well, today I get an angry text message saying that she really likes my party and it's a shame that I forgot she was my friend, while also asking me why I didn't invite her. I said it was because of what happened last year, that I didn't want her child near my collection ever again. She said that I was being childish and said that I was a jerk and that this is not a reason to not invite someone and that her child was just playing with them. Now, some friends say that it's okay and that it's understandable, but others think that I'm in the wrong. So honestly, am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? I do not think you're the jerk in the slightest. This lady's son destroyed some of your personal property. I don't care what it was. Her child destroyed something of yours that probably cost you a lot of money just to obtain. The fact that this is a popular toy for like Nintendo Switches and stuff like that honestly doesn't matter to me. And the fact that she's trying to downplay this is also crazy to me, because her son definitely destroyed your personal property. There's no other way around this. He damaged your stuff and destroyed something that is very important to you. And if Lucy had any sense in her head, she would do what she can to pay you back. Just because she thinks that it's childish that you have those in the first place doesn't mean that you're not justified to keep her from coming to your house. And if this lady, as well as your friends who think you're a jerk, really want to stick to that opinion, then maybe you should give out like the retail price as well as the selling price of these items and explain to them that some of these cost a lot of money and that they really meant a lot to you and you didn't want to lose them. That might be a good way to get through to these people, but overall, if I was in your shoes, I honestly would have done the exact same thing. Am I the jerk for uninviting my best friend from my wedding, all because she kept telling people that she dated my fiance first? Here's what happened. So my friend Isabel and I have been friends since we were born. Isabel is not my friend's real name. We were practically raised together. We were closer in college, but after that, we have been drifting apart a little, but I still had a strong bond with her up until recently. We have both been there for each other a lot through life, so this situation is really tough. After college, when Isabel was 23, she went on a few dates with my now fiance, who we will call Jake. Jake is not his real name, but then she told him that she wasn't interested in anything serious. Even though I was her best friend, I didn't really know Jake because she used to get asked out a lot, but only a few turned serious, so I knew about her boyfriends but not necessarily her dates. Almost a year after that, I moved in with Isabel and so we got close again, and it was after this that I met Jake. We quickly became good friends, and I used to talk about him to Isabel a lot, but it's when I showed her his picture that she recognized him and told me about her dates with him. Friendships were more important to me than any guy back then, so I asked her if it was okay to date him because I liked him a lot. She said that she had no problem and joked about it ever turning into a relationship, which I took as a joke. Well, Jake and I became serious very quick. He is my soulmate. By then though, Isabel and I had lost touch a bit since I moved in with Jake, with work becoming more of a priority. Right until I got engaged, she used to still joke to both me and Jake that she didn't think that we would be this into each other. And at the time, I saw it was funny because Jake is the opposite of me. After I got engaged, she became really weird. She was very shocked and just would not believe it. Then later she used to tell me that I'm too young to be married, and if I'm sure, but I just saw this as concern, although she did agree to be my maid of honor along with my sister. Afterwards, Afterwards, I posted on my Instagram about our engagement, and people were reposting it and congratulating us. But Isabel just captioned it by saying, "You better mention me in your vows because he was into me first." Well, when we saw that, Jake and I were very uncomfortable with that. But I decided at the time to defend her, saying that it's just Isabel and she jokes around a lot. But I still let her know that it was a bit uncomfortable, and she said that she was joking. After Christmas, we hosted a party together, and on that day, Isabel just kept telling all the friends and family gathered that Jake dated her first, and that she let me have him. Even after telling her it was not okay, she still joked around. Later, I told her that she was crossing my boundaries and that it was not okay, to which she said that I was overreacting. Well, in the end, I told her to not attend my wedding at all. Now, I have been overthinking a lot after that, and right now, people who know about this are just choosing sides based on who they know more. I'm worried that I'm ruining a lifelong friendship when I'm not even right. What if to her, it really was just a joke, and I'm just not being understanding? But she is also not being supportive or positive, which I think is completely unfair. I'm really confused, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think she was joking around. It sounds like she's being very spiteful and very, jealous of your situation. Clearly she missed out on a guy that could have been, marriage material, and she's now letting you and everybody else know that she somehow played a hand in it, even though she didn't in the slightest. You met this guy a year later. It's not because of Isabel. So for her to say something like that is really uncalled for. In my opinion, she loses any right to try and be like, oh, it's just a joke, especially right after you express your concerns that this really bothers you. And you even said it again at the Christmas party. You're like, hey, please stop doing that. It's really bothering me. And when she said, oh, you're just overreacting, that in my opinion would have been my last straw as well, because you have definitely made your opinion clear and you gave her multiple opportunities to fix her behavior, or there would be consequences for her crossing your boundaries. So no, in my opinion, I don't think you're the jerk. I think it's important for you to back up your boundaries, and I think it's totally appropriate for you to tell your friend that no, she cannot come to your wedding. Because if she's willing to do it here in front of friends and family, then you can bet she's gonna try that garbage at your wedding. And I know if I was in your shoes, I would not want that in the slightest. Am I the jerk for not wanting to let my mother-in-law and her husband sleep in our bed while my husband and I are away traveling? Here's what happened. So we moved 3 months ago to my husband's birth town. His mother lives about an hour and a half away from us in a smaller city and occasionally stays over with us to do some errands. Even though we don't have the best of relationships due to some behaviors on her side, I don't mind her coming over, and I am a good host in any situation. At this time, my mom, her boyfriend, and my sister came from far away for New Year's and are staying over, and on my husband's request, they're staying for his birthday next week. While we travel, my mother will also be caring for our dog that is a bit sick. Well, today his mother texted asking to sleep in our bedroom tomorrow night while we travel. That was due to our guest bedroom being occupied by my family and she not wanting to be without air conditioning for the night. But honestly, I did not like this idea. To me, a bedroom is something extremely personal and private. I felt a huge invasion of privacy to share my bed and pillows with people, and also, I don't feel comfortable to let someone else in the privacy of our room. It's also important to say that I have issues with sleeping locations, as well as sharing personal space with people. It even took a while for me to be able to sleep with my husband. It is something extremely important to me, and my husband is aware of it. Now, we had different upbringings, and we sometimes have different views on society and social cues. He found no issue to let his mother and her husband in our room. He just doesn't really care, while I wouldn't allow my mom or anyone else sleep in our room unless the circumstances were extreme, such as sickness, old age, or surgery. This was something really clear in my household. Before I really had a conversation with my husband, I asked my mom and she agreed with me, also highlighting that she would not request that of me, that the marriage bed was something sacred and incredibly private. I don't really see the sacred thing as I'm not really religious, but I am 100% on the private aspect of it. His mother has close relatives that she stayed over all the time before we moved towns, and I don't see the need to be uncomfortable and invaded because she prefers to sleep with AC in our house. My husband and I talked earlier today, and our upbringings clashed. I am aware we have different mindsets, but I established clear boundaries on the things that matter, and this was something that mattered to me, and he said he couldn't understand how this was that big of an invasion, or even being that big of a deal, as it was only a bed and we could changed the sheets later on, and honestly, I felt like this was just completely unfair. We agreed to disagree, and in the end, his mother won't be staying over. So was I the jerk for putting my quirk and my need for privacy over his mother's comfort? What should I do? No, I don't think you're the jerk at all. Your house is not a hotel, so for her to literally be like, let me sleep in your bed while you're away, that in my opinion is super gross and not something I would be on board with at all. Because I think the original poster is 100% right. My bed is my bed for a reason, and I do not want anybody else sleeping in that bed. So I don't think you're the jerk at all, because this very clearly is a boundary that you're not willing to compromise on. My boyfriend only pays about 20% of the rent, leaving me with 80% for me to figure out on my own. And right about now, I'm starting to feel resentful towards him, even though the both of us are doing really well financially. And at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So my boyfriend and I moved out together in August. I was ready to move out and get my first apartment, whereas he was fine with staying at his parents' home to avoid paying rent. For reference, I'm a 23-year-old female and he is 25 years old. We both have well-paying, stable jobs. We make about the same amount, with me making about $1,000 more a month, which makes sense because I work in a hospital and I'm often working overnight or I'm on call. I started looking for places over the summer and was open to getting a place for just myself or to share with him. It was obviously my preference to live with him, and so I had many chats with him trying to sway him to move in together. We lived 35 minutes away from each other, and his parents would only let me sleep over once a month. He told me he was ready to live together, but didn't want to spend the money and was in no rush to move out. Because of this, I told him that I would be open to paying more of the rent as he has student loans and car payments that I don't have. I found an apartment that I liked, and he was open to moving in together on the agreement that I paid $1,500 a month and he pays $350 per month. I agreed because I love him and I wanted to live with him really badly. I knew he would be very happy once he moved out and would love to have his own place to have all of his friends over. I also felt bad because I felt like I pushed him to move out when he didn't need to, so I was okay with this agreement. I've known since I met him that he is obsessed with money and it is one of his biggest red flags, but I admired that he was good with his money and responsible with it. Although it wasn't set in stone, we had discussed that he would pay for dinners and other things since I was paying so much in rent. At the time, I didn't think it was a big deal to clarify because I figured he would have no problem helping out. As I said, we moved into our apartment in August and he loves it. He loves having his friends over whenever he wants, as well as the independence from his family. Well, it's January now, and I find myself feeling resentful and taken advantage of. Everything else in our life is split in half besides drinks at the bar. For example, we just went grocery shopping and it was $160. He said to Venmo him $75. I said that my food was only worth $50, so I was planning to send him that. And this is my first time saying this. I mean, I usually just send half anyways, but this time he took the receipt from me and counted up all of my charges incorrectly, by the way, and said that I was wrong. Even if it was more money though, I think the least he could do is pay the grocery bill occasionally. Well, after that, I got mad and I stormed off. I thought he would be thankful that I helped out so much and would have no problem with buying me dinners and groceries or even something nice from time to time. He didn't even get me a card or flowers for our 1-year anniversary, but it always comes down to money. I would understand if he struggled financially, but he's not at all. I can't help but begin to feel resentful, and I feel taken advantage of because he knows how much I love him and I would put up with so much for him. But at the same time, I agreed to this and I convinced him to move in with me when he wasn't 100% ready. Am I being fair or unreasonable here? What should I do? Personally, you've given him several months to get settled and have some kind of footing when it comes to this apartment. So if you were to come back in the new year and say, hey, I think it's time that we start splitting the rent. Because honestly, if I was in your shoes, I would probably get resentful as well. Think about it for a second. You both basically make the same amount of money and this guy's paying almost no rent. If I was in your shoes, I would be ticked off. And I would also be really upset that he is really gonna penny pinch and be like, wait a second, that's not what the receipt says. Especially when you went grocery shopping that one time as an example. That seems really petty and so unnecessary. Now for context, the original poster stated that combined through the both of them, they make about $25,000 a month. So there's really no good excuse that they couldn't just split the rent and go from there. Everything else is split down the line, why can't this also be tacked on? You've given him several months to get settled in. He loves having the independence and the freedom, but with that freedom and independence definitely comes at the cost of paying rent. So in my opinion, I don't think you would be in the wrong for asking that, and I think it would be really weird for him to be like, well, this is not what we agreed on, because right now the agreement you guys agreed to is really skewed in his favor. And I know if I was in your shoes, I would definitely be upset as well. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.